primer to understand how to get into the TV industry and go do crazy stuff with it. Because it's a world that I think a lot of companies have tried to disrupt, and it's the industry of tech TV startups is effectively littered with failure. I can name 5 to 10, and the 10 are kind of stretching. So we're going to run through a whole bunch of stuff really quick and see where it gets to. First thing that's important to know is we're going to talk mobile for a second. By next year, it's estimated that almost 90% of the world will have some kind of mobile device. Furthermore, they're downloading apps and apps and apps and apps. And lastly, and most important to the stat, is the amount of people who use their mobile phones at home. 98% of the time when you have a mobile device, you use it at home every day. And the reason why I think this is important is it's a shift change in how we live our lives. The world today is mobile, and I don't see this changing anytime in the near to distant future. It's what's being in Facebook stock, is that we live a mobile lifestyle. The number of people in this room who during my talk and others have looked down to do some other thing speaks only to that trend of extreme mobility. Second important trend. So, what? Oh, sorry. I thought I got a heckling. Like, that was quick. I didn't even say anything controversial yet. So, almost 40% of US households have a DVR, which means they're now watching TV mostly on their schedule. We have seen an increase in video on demand. We have seen an increase in services like Spotify, Pandora, which had 16 million monthly active users, let alone their 80 million registered users. But let's stop talking stats and let's just dive into TV. Let's talk about the second important trend I see that's impacting the way TV will change. It's the notion of extreme personalization. To Mark's point about taste making, we want to be the red tulip. In fact, we all look at ourselves as the one outlier. We are different from everybody. My Econ 101 class at college had the guy, we raised our hands for like half an hour until we all proved that there were no two people alike in a room. So, how does this matter for TV? Well, before we can talk about the future of TV, we've got to talk about its past. 50 years ago, we all watched the same stuff in the same room, on the same channels, at the same time, with the same people. We paid the same companies, and we went and had the same conversations the next day. That was TV. 30 years ago, it was mostly the same, with a little bit more color. The Cosby Show is interesting. It was actually the most popular scripted TV show to have ever been created, and the ratings today come nowhere close to the ratings then. Why? Personalization. Today, we watch different things. In fact, we watch so much different TV that we're often doing something else in the same room at the same time while watching TV. So it's hard enough just to get something on the air, but to actually have an engaged audience is a near impossibility. Here's what's interesting. This is possibly the fastest growing, self-changing industry I've ever seen. In fact, in my career in TV, I have never seen it change itself so much as it is right now. One could call this a golden era of TV as a technology, let alone the medium. But there's a little catch to that. People don't change. People are for the most part the same. And this is important again, because as much as I hear about, oh, when you're watching TV, you're going to want to do this. Don't go so fast. You see, the thing about TV is not work. Right? TV is not something you're supposed to sit there and fuddle with and spend time doing. In fact, I would go so far as to say TV is not really about entertainment. Right? Yes, you get entertained by TV, but I do not believe that that's what TV is about. TV is about escape. Well, there's the entertainment one. TV is about escape. This is a real key distinction in thinking, because if you just think about entertainment, you'll forget about stuff like Discovery Channel, you'll forget about educational programming, and so much more that is TV. But if you start to think about TV as escape, for the average American who watches 4 to 8 hours of TV, and that is the middle of the bell curve, and most of them, it is an escape from your miserable, debt-ridden life. It sounds harsh, but it's the truth. Why do you think most TV shows today are about train wrecks, right? I mean, from reality this, to desperate this, to housewives that. It's terrible, right? But it's an escape because, you know what? Someone's got it worse than me. So, let's move on to another topic on TV. There's this weird thing going on. You read a lot of those blogs today, you hear that TV's dying. Well, guess what? Here's a neat stat for you. TV advertising was up last year. And I can say that since so much of the lifeblood of TV is advertising, something that is growing is generally not dying. In fact, the reason that TV is not dying is because TV is great. When I say that TV is great, what I mean is this: you turn it on, and there it is. You don't even push any more buttons, stuff's happening. And it's perfect, it's in high def, it's not buffering, it's not streaming, it's not waiting for you to authorize or click, it just plays. To improve upon that experience is incredibly difficult. So how are we going to do some disruption? Well, there's two fundamentals that I want to make sure everybody here who wants to be in TV walks away with. The first one is knowing who is in control. Okay, and fundamentally, it's my mock representation of, yeah, it's old rich white guys in control. And right now they work at companies like these. This is where the control center of television is. I'll explain that in a couple of minutes. But if you think you can get around this, you simply cannot. Okay, it's not like music. A key thing differentiating music and TV, if you're the best band in the world and you decide you want to go produce your own stuff, and you have a new album to make, what do? You go to a recording studio, you make a new album, and you pay the cost of doing that recording studio, and you have the best and the this and the that. But when you want to make a new TV show, what's it take? Watch the credits of what you consider to be the worst thing on television. I think it's that Bikini Barber show on HDNet, I'm not quite sure. It's got like 40 to 80 people working on that show. Right? Do you know the production cost of one episode of Game of Thrones? $10 million, one episode. When Coldplay wants to go make a new album, how much would it cost them to make? Right? Their time, recording studio, and some other folks. You can't simply, oops, 20 people get into a room with iPhones and you've got a TV show. It's just not going to happen like that. Second key thing to know is TV is big. Right? TV is not, $30 billion last year was spent just producing TV shows. $37 billion was spent distributing those same shows. The amount of money that is transferring hands in TV, it is actually a lifeblood of the economy. And I can tell you this, if you really think that the big evil TV industry should die a quick death, we will put many, many jobs at stake that will not be rapidly replaced on the internet. So let's slow down a little before we want to disrupt it in a terrifying sense. There's much better ways to go about disrupting it. But there are good ways. There's a lot of change ahead. So let's talk what's going on. Quick primer, here's what you got to know to go disrupt TV. First, you must understand where the money flows. Who produces a show? Who buys that show? Where do they sell it to? How is it getting onto the networks? How is that getting into your house? What are you paying for? What are consumers doing? What are advertisers doing? How does that money flow? If you don't understand how that money flows, and by the way, 15 years into it, I'm not quite sure I get it yet. Okay? It's hard. The carriage fees, right? Weird terms you're going to hear about, like, what are these things? Get a good understanding, or as good as you can, I can hack in most meetings, get a good understanding of how the money flows, because it is the lifeblood of TV. If you don't know it, what are you doing? Right? You're sitting on the sidelines. Second, understand the deals that are being made. Understand lockouts. Understand that companies will get 10-year-long agreements of exclusive arrangement of content. These are big contracts. I mean, it's a $500 billion industry. They've got good lawyers, right? So you're not going to exactly walk in and say, well, we can get your stuff on the internet, when they've got this huge lockout agreement with some company for the next 7 years. Can't even play the game. There's no game to be played yet. Understanding rights. All right? I mean, it's really interesting in my hotel room, the stuff I live in San Francisco, there's stuff I can't watch in my hotel room. Now, I have the rights to that content. I pay for HBO Go, I pay for Hulu Plus. I can't watch it here. Right? It's not an easy problem to solve. In fact, it's a problem that's unlikely to get solved while any of us exist. It's that hard a problem. Well, maybe not exist. Okay, I'm exaggerating, because Brian will want to keep the age. So let's give one great example of all of these pieces coming into play. Everybody, I don't know if you guys see, who saw on the internet this summer, there was this thing like HBO should go direct to consumers. Who's willing to pay for HBO themselves? Anyone see that hit like blogs and Twitters and all that? So there's this thing that says if consumers are willing to pay like $12 a person per month to have HBO, because today the only way to get HBO is through a cable company or satellite. It's the only option you have. So HBO made $4 billion last year, right? And they make it from Comcast and DirecTV. HBO has no customer service. HBO has no customer acquisition cost. They have barely any marketing. I mean, they spend a ton of marketing, but they market their shows, not HBO. HBO is not trying to get you to convince yourself you should be a customer. They make Game of Thrones instead. They make Entourage instead. They figure out how to get you as a customer. So HBO is not failing anytime soon. But there's a lot of other ways to fail in the TV industry. There's in fact tons of them. So the first one, try to swim upstream. Everything I've just been talking about, how the system works, try to buck that system. I know a company who went in office after office, the equivalent of walking into an office with a sledgehammer saying, this is the future. They were wrong. Next thing, think you're dealing with just dinosaurs. The cable industry is not full of dinosaurs. Comcast makes apps. They make decent apps. Right? These are not dinosaurs. Dinosaurs don't make apps. So don't think that you're dealing with a bunch of people who don't know the world today. HBO is responding on Twitter to why they are not distributing direct to consumers. They are not dinosaurs. Next, misunderstand consumers. Again, so many pitches, oh well, people will want to do this. Well, the thing is, TV is escape. So let's look at some things that aren't about escape. Smart TVs. Anyone here have a smart TV? Lots of icons and stuff to play with and do. That's not escape. That's a nightmare. Right? That's, by the way, that's this year's generation. That's not even 2-year-old. This is the new stuff. Making all of TV be a la carte, right? Again, I turn on NBC, stuff plays. I don't have to pick up the remote again. So for my 4 to 8 hours of watching TV, I don't want to be doing this all the time. If I have to go choose every darn thing I'm going to watch, we're going to lose people. Cord cutting, same problem. It's not a real thing. The stats don't hold up in any way. If anything, the cable, telephone, and satellite industry, as far as TV subscribers, went up last year. That's a proven stat. Don't think TVs are phones, because they're not. They never will be. They're not meant to have tons and tons of apps. I'm sure we will have something happen that will change the way we think about the device we call a TV, but don't think it's just a big phone. So, quick things to know, big important trends that are coming. 1, binge viewing, right? I watched 4 episodes of The Wire this weekend, right? People watch all of Mad Men in a sitting. They catch up on Breaking Bad. This is the future of TV watching. Second, YouTube invested $150 million so far into original content. They're going to double up on it next year. Big opportunities. Understanding turf wars. You know you can't get AMC on the dish right now? Big things happening in this place. If there's ever a system that's going to crumble, it's these turf wars that are happening between cable holders and the content rights because they don't want to spend the money anymore. Probably not going to change, but it's an opportunity. Understanding TV everywhere, where you get to watch your shows like HBO Go. Big shift happening. It's already out there. 2.1 billion hours watched or something streaming on regular TV last year. The iPad. The iPad is a TV set. It's just a portable one that you have all the time, and it's really, really cool. This is still just a hobby. It won't be for long. Opportunities there. We know there's something going on in social. I don't think it's about real-time tweeting while you do the thing. TV is a social mechanism. It is really the zeitgeist of culture today. So there's something to be done here. I don't know what it is. Maybe one of you will figure it out. So ultimately, how are you going to win? Go ahead. Ultimately, how are you going to win in the TV space? The key thing you want to do is figure out, of the dollar flow, of the rights holders, where things are translating. There are always opportunities to slice and dice inside there, create new businesses, and go disrupt the TV industry. Hope this was informative and you understand the world a bit better. Thank you very much.